reading again on Amazon Kindle, Myrtle's Ultimate Mystery. We're in Chapter 3, Part 3, and I'll start today with Chapter 3, Part 4. We left off with Jean and Myrtle in the Gemini restaurant. Top of the page, the word truth was the last one we used last time, so I'll continue from there. It seemed to me Jean was still attempting to understand her emotional reactions to the beginning chapter of Fountainhead. Did you tell Ruth all that? I told her all except how I felt when I began identifying with Carrot Head's friend. I didn't tell her the book confused me. I think I began to sense I would see things I didn't want to see about myself. Still don't, for that matter. I didn't tell Ruth that either. Actually, I hadn't sorted out those feelings until now. Frowning, staring at the clear glass plate with a few bites of stuffing scattered out of the pocket, Jean pushed at a piece of celery with the back edge of her fork. Before continuing to recount this lunch conversation, I have to share more of what I found last evening in the chart for the question, Find Ruth. Astrology buffs will eat this up, no cinnamon needed. But if the planetary mind stretcher gets too heavy for the get to action Aries in you, skip to Chapter 4 and continue the Gemini lunch scene, okay? Go to Chapter 4 or dive in here. Reader's choice. Do not pass go. Okay, arms above your head. Dive. Blub, blub, blub. Ah. Eyes open. Tread. Up in my attic last evening with my lemonade, taking the second step in the Horary investigation, I keyed in on the moon in the planetary map. The last aspect to the moon is supposed to be the overriding answer in a nutshell. It was a challenging 90-degree square angle to Mercury, from Earth's perspective. Physically, this means that the moon makes a 90-degree angle to Mercury from the viewpoint of Earth, which is, of course, where we are at the moment on planet Earth. So, yes, this squaring aspect would not occur in Horary time until around April 15, 1996. Was the IRS somehow involved? Heaven forbid. To better understand an angular aspect, the astrologer looks at the signs involved. As you'll remember, the moon was in slow-moving, stubborn, I like things the way they are, Taurus, the sign for cash on hand, ownership, and the Earth herself. Mercury was in fast-moving, freedom-loving, I need a change, Aquarius, the sign for going where no one else has gone, and for individuality. A square between Moon and Mercury would indicate a problem with emotional Moon. Communication, Mercury. It would deal with organic, conservative, controlled, long-time established, primitive needs, Taurus. Conflicting with human-synthesized, new frontier or technological ways, Aquarius, of dealing with daily routines and habits. As I said, don't worry too much now if these astrological details get confusing. Keep on treading. The water temp's great. You're in Hawaii. You're in Hawaii in the ocean. That's a hypnotic suggestion. We're just hitting the high points briefly here. Then you can come back later if necessary, after the quantum leap of action takes over and you're running barefoot, kicking up sand, carrying your bayonet across a hot, bloody beach in Normandy. Do be warned, however, by the end of the next chapter you will be so busily intrigued, you'll be nostalgic about this leisurely walk through the rose garden of a finely tuned mind. So be patient, get a Saturn, and use that brain God gave you, or wherever it was you got it. You do have one? Yes? Well, push the start button again, but watch it. Don't sink in over your head. This is the ocean, big waves and all that, and salt, anchovies available. Or go back to the Capricorn Caesar. I don't care. It's always your choice. Maybe everything is. Taking another sip of lemonade and continuing along an astrological line of logic, I reasoned that keep the old ways Taurus needs refreshing change Aquarius to avoid death from stagnation and putrefaction, and Aquarius needs Taurus to slow its fast-burning lightning long enough to smell the roses, rejuvenating in the get-down sensual pleasures of life. Yes, the answer was a problem to solve, blending old and new, issues to work on. So what else was new? But if the moon square to Mercury represented a problem to solve, a tension, a stress in Ruth's life, just who or what was Mercury in the chart? We know the moon is Ruth. Mercury was in Ruth's 8th house, the house which deals with death, taxes, and searching hidden meanings in life. It ruled, controlled, or related to Ruth's third house of early years, siblings, and communication, and her 12th house of spirit, sleep, dreams, drugs, and institutions. Synthesizing that data would take more thought. Now don't go south on me. Use those prunes free. Move 'em. Kick that brain back in gear. We're on the Horary home stretch. As the moon in Taurus, Ruth might be feeling a bit old and stuck, Taurus being possessive and sensual, seeking comfort, as well as being highly sensitive to discomfort. Was she trying to touch an Aquarian new frontier, a faster, freer, fresher way of relating to life? Bottom line, she appeared to be wondering, did she want to touch, feel, eat, and be in a physical body, Taurus, or did she want to be set free, Aquarius? Wouldn't it be nice to do both? I could actually see her thinking that. Well, I didn't want to think, let alone say or write what was forming in my mind. And how in the world would I, or even should I, communicate this to Jean? Now you must realize that while it takes only a few minutes to read the above horary analysis, it took me several hours to do it. While you were treading water in the ocean in Hawaii, on vacation, I was sweating up a tsunami in that attic of mine with my glass of lemonade. Believe me, after getting this far last evening, I was exhausted, ready for bed. Yet it had been hard to tear myself away from the horoscopes. I had drawn up a natal chart for Jean and Jerome, as well as for Ruth, but hadn't looked at them too closely. If I didn't get a good night's sleep, I wouldn't be worth much, driving or interviewing. So I had snuggled under the cool, soft, floral patterned sheets and heavy, fat patchwork quilt. Gus had curled up, snoring on the floor. Calico Brill and White Mac had stretched out, dreaming beside me on the queen-size bed. Now, folks, back to the Gemini, and cinnamon tea, pitas, and anchovy-rich Caesar salads. Jean had been recalling a conversation about Ayn Rand's Fountainhead, which she had had with Ruth last November 8th. Next we'll be in Chapter 4. And I think I'll pause here and mention that one of the regular viewers of this video has gone ahead and bought a copy of Myrtle's Ultimate Mystery and is reading on his Kindle, reading the words at the same time as listening to the video. And just to compare, I did that myself, and it was really kind of interesting. It does help to have the words in front of you, as well as hear them, since I stumble sometimes and some words aren't quite that clear. So it's an interesting experience, and I'm glad he tried to do that. And I guess I'll pause here because it's getting late. The time is going short, and this is a heck of a stretch here. See you next.